full of God and is a book about God. Every creature is a word of God. If I spent enough time with the tiniest creature, even a caterpillar, I would never have to prepare a sermon so full of God as every creature. Those words were written by Meister Eckhart, a 13th century Christian mystic. So full of God is every creature. My parents loved nature. They taught my three brothers and me to have respect for flowers, trees, birds, and other animals. We had dogs as we grew up, always had a succession of dogs. For a long while too, there were tumble pigeons and chooks. Funnily enough though, there were some things my mother hated. For such a kind and gentle person, it is strange to look back and recall how much she hated some things. Some animals and some plants. Each time she saw mangrove swamps, she would always remark how ugly they were. I didn't ask why. I just accepted that mangrove swamps were ugly. When I was in the garden, she would often comment how she hated oxalis with a vengeance. Dock, too, was another enemy. I grew up thinking that mangrove swamps, dock, and oxalis, among other things, were bad. And when shopping, it was the norm to seek perfection. The big, red, perfectly shaped apples were sought after, while the little one with flaws or perhaps a bug in it were rejected. My thinking began to change about 35 years ago when I became a mother. Wanting to give my children the best of everything, I began to look for more natural choices. I started to learn more about relationships. I began to realise that an apple that had a live bug in it was probably safer than one that no insects would go near, because they could have a dose of poison. I began to plant a few extra vegetables and fruit so that some could be sacrificed to birds and insects. Each time I see a kawakawa bush, it adds a wonderful peppery flavour to the food, I think of the Maori adage that says, select a kawakawa leaf that has insect damage because the insects know which are the best ones to eat. I think it was over at Rawene that I began to understand about mangrove swamps. Sorry, wetlands, it's the PC thing to say. And their place in nature. Mangroves become prolific where there has been a large amount of pollution or sediment in the bay. And while they act as a nursery for marine life, they also purify the polluted water. Spend some time looking around a mangrove forest and you can learn so much about marine ecosystems. On my farm, I learned that dock grew in areas where the soil has been badly compacted. And in fact, with its long taproot system, it brings valuable minerals to the surface to help restore the texture and health of the damaged topsoil. We are too judgmental. What right do we have to decide that something is bad or ugly? Over the last 30 years, I've been learning a lot more about insects. It began with my interest in the monarch and has spread to other butterflies. The more I learn, the more my interest grows. I'm learning more and more about host plants and predators and parasites. It is all fascinating. Did you know that the first monarch was seen in this country the year after the Treaty of Waitangi was signed? Did you know that scientists believe they flew blue here from North America? And it wasn't until the swan plant arrived that the monarch was able to breed here. But did you know that the swan plant comes from Africa? Do you know how the swan plant came to New Zealand? We believe that settlers coming from Britain around the Cape of Good Hope went ashore and bought a cushion, a pillow, or a mattress, or something like that, which had swan plant used as the filling. At some time after they settled here, the item was no longer needed and discarded. Amongst the down was a few swan plant seeds, and soon the plant was grown and the monarchs could breed. As my interest grew, I began to dislike the predators and parasites that attacked the monarch butterfly. Did you know there was a little wasp that lays its eggs inside the chrysalises, and instead of a butterfly forming, 40 or 50 wasps will come out, and they begin to attack other chrysalises. predators and parasites with a vengeance. However, one day it occurred to me that the relationships are just as they are meant to be. Not all caterpillars are destined to be butterflies. They also provide food for other species, and Jill will tell you about her birds and how they like the caterpillars. One species is not meant to be predominant. As one species thrives, another one struggles. For instance, where we have healthy seawater, we will have ample fish. Where there are plentiful fish, you'll find plenty of fishermen, birds and marine mammals. And where it becomes too popular, the fish become less, so the fishermen go away to find new areas. And so it goes on. It's all about balance. There are highs and lows. Nature swings in a boom and bust cycle. It's just the way it is meant to be. Sadly, however, nature is affected badly by one of our worst vices, greed. A classic example of this was seen in the media this last week. A dairy farmer, not content to own one farm and make a reasonable living through hard work, but he owns many farms and does not have the time or respect for the cows he owns. And Mary's reading earlier made me realise that I have been neglecting my poor body lately and not doing enough milking. I've resolved to do better, you know. It is heartening to me to see that more and more people are becoming aware of environmental issues and our need for wise stewardship of the planet. People are becoming gentler and more thoughtful. People are generally showing respect and responsibility for other beings, animals and plants. We're not quite there yet, but more and more people are beginning to make a difference. It wasn't long ago that we would have shrugged our shoulders and said about that farmer, well, that's life. He's a farmer, he knows best. But it's different today, we do take action. You may remember I mentioned how my mother hated oxalis. If you look around the churchyard outside on a nicer day than today, you'll see a bright little pink flower popping its head up all over the lawn. Have you noticed it? That's oxalis. It's a standout plant, and it just adds to this church's charm. And only people who think lawns should be only grass and green and neat and pest-free would be bothered by it. Each time I see that pretty pink flower, I think of my mother. Today I hope that we can leave this church and reflect on how we can improve our own relationship with nature. To have respect for all that is around us, the green leaves, the flowers, the trees, the plant in the wrong place, insects and birds, pets and farm animals, and those in the wilderness too. We know in our hearts if we are doing the right thing by nature. We only need to think of how God asked us to behave in the way that